Okay, we, we're all back, still alert, awake, and we're going to dive into HTML and CSS directly. And the lab that you're going to start working on is HTML and CSS lab here. It doesn't require the previous, it doesn't touch the previous Ruby code just yet. In the next lab, we'll link the Ruby and the HTML CSS part together. Okay. Now, I'm going to just encourage again. This is like maybe create a week 2 folder here, and this time each lab is a little bigger than before. You have multiple files, so I start instead of naming lab 2-2.rb, I create a 2-2 folder and then create a multiple files inside that folder. That's my recommended approach. So let's look at lab 2- in this case it should be 2-2. So I am going to go to 2-2. That's okay, don't save. Okay, so we're doing this. I create a new file. I'll call it the test.html file. Nothing whatsoever. And if I just say the word hello, this is invalid HTML. Okay? But because it's named HTML, the browser can probably accept it. The browser is HTML is very forgiving. So if you type, it will open HTML, it will open test.html. Make sure again it's the same folder. Okay? And Ian, if I just recommend would just be like if you focus on the screen and more like can ask questions because you have really good questions. So I prefer you asking more questions than you taking more notes. So in here so far we have a raw text file, and this can display it just fine, but it just doesn't know how to make it look pretty. It's just all text, just like a terminal. One trick that you have learned is you can do view page source, and when you click on this is the source of the file, and it's exactly what you type in here. Now we know better than that. This is too boring, so I'm going to start typing some HTML code. And if you do that over here, I open that, and you start to see that there's some styling. You may not know how this becomes so big and bold, but then you can inspect it by clicking view page source, and you say, because it's H1 and this is HTML for us. We're learning that H1 is the biggest heading 1. Okay, so in your lab, you start learning how to type, H2. This is heading 2, H3, heading 3, and you may ask me why and how you can have that autocomplete. Just go in here and search for HTML snippets, install that extension, and you can type things pretty quickly. Okay, so you learn a few of these HTML tags. I won't get into that, but with this code, this is the source, and this is the presentation. Things get smaller and smaller. You even notice that they may be of different font style. This is the default. Each browser comes with its own, hopefully they can agree a little bit, but they use some system fonts, and yeah, it looks like that. Okay, so in the lab you use more elements and you play with it yourself. It's important to know that this is still not valid HTML. Okay, let's learn the real valid HTML is that this is just HTML5 for you, and then sometimes you might see, I think, it just say HTML here, but HTML5 is aimed to be the simplest, and it's now the modern browser web page format. Sometimes 10 years ago you read like, is this page on HTML 4.1, is it 5, and it's all complicated. Is it XML? They're all very strict, but HTML5 is cool, modern, and it's just awesome. So it's as simple as this. You need a begin and end, so it's all under HTML, and then you need a head, and a body. The head stuff is not visible, but it's just the extra stuff, such as what you see here: resources, week 2 bootcamp, test, append by Harley. Here is the stuff that is under the title in the showing the class, for example. I call this. And then down here, body is what is visible to the people, right? So this is heading 1. So for example, an awesome page. And then for example here, a paragraph, right? And then down here, maybe I have input, type here is a text input. And then I just do this one more time, or go to the browser and refresh it. The page is a little bright. You may not see the border here, but this is like a text input. This is a paragraph. It looks reasonable, but now this is valid. This is valid where you view page source. It respects the structure. There's a head and a body. You can do more things with it. I'll leave you with it in the lab. Okay? So William, have you used any HTML stuff before in the past?
Very, very little.
Very. So you probably have you seen this HTML tag before?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like head, body. This is very useful because even for non-technical people, right? If you use WordPress or you publish any marketing campaign, they ask you to insert a little HTML in there because your HTML code can contain some formatting, like it should be a paragraph, it should be a link, it should be an image, something like that. Now learning this stuff, every time you go back here, change, go down here, or go here, refresh, it's a bit time consuming. So from lab 2, do that first, do it the painful way. Lab 2, I ask you guys to go to CodePen, the most popular playground for HTML coding, right? So it's called playground because now you can type whatever you want. This is the pen that I already finished, so I'm not going to show you. But there's HTML, and then CSS, and JavaScript. We're not learning JavaScript yet, so I'm going to minimize. I don't care. So you can drag all of this, right? Drag out and in. I don't have CSS yet, right? No need. But here is your body part. There's no more head and everything. Just focus on the body. So what I'm trying to do is, lecture is supposed to be going pretty fast, and we'll try to achieve something. So let's try that the test board one more time. I'm going to pull it from here. This Trello board, okay? And here's my HTML, okay? So I want to produce this box right here, and then I want to produce the stuff inside it. Initially, it will be super ugly. Bear with me. So let's look at this text thing. The first thing that is the board name. So board name will be I'll call this test right here. Looks fine. And hopefully, hey, look, it's automatic. I was gonna type save, but hopefully it's automatic. It just take a few seconds. And then you probably have something else called today, and probably regular text. You could use paragraph, but it's not really a paragraph. It's like just today. You can call it H2 maybe, right? This is each list. Maybe you can call it H2. That's today. Looks fine. It's a little big for me, so I don't like it. I just like to style it myself. Div is plain. It's just H2 comes with some styling. Hey, the text should be bigger. Div just say that's just a container, nothing fancy. Sometimes you're like, but how big is the div? And then you can just say background color red, and then you can see the that is the div. Like the container is actually that big, but you only put this much text in it. Right? But that's not. We don't need that. Hey, but maybe we do. Inside this box outside, inside this box, maybe this div here, we have a box. I'll call this box a list box, okay? So we need to build something called list box. So it looks like this. That's our list box. Right now, you may find it a bit funny. It's like, what is this thing called class? But it's just a way for me to name it. I'll call it a list box. Okay? In list box here, I will have something called learn string, learn number, and even learn number. I put this thing inside it. No, notice this is one, this is two, put inside it. Where is my learn string? Uh-oh. Can someone help? I didn't close it. Learn string, learn numbers. Yeah? Yes. So, well, each of this, it doesn't have to be a paragraph. You feel like I want this to be a new line each time, right?
Yeah,
Right? But I don't like to use that break. It's bad. I just use div for each one of them. Okay? You only use the break BR thing if you need to display, let's say, a poem or a contact address like street name one, city name, something like that. But in here, they are different guys, different things.
So the size of the div is over
It go over to the end of the container. Yeah. Okay. So this is called a block. Like a div is a whole block. It goes to the end. There's something that different from a div. It's called a span, and then it only go around the text, the words. So that's the difference between a div and a span. And at this point, if you have a notebook, the only thing you write in there is like, okay, div versus vs span. You don't have to understand what they do and what the differences are yet. Okay, so I will keep this as div. I don't care, right? And you see how amazing it is? I just changed tag here and it just updated over there. Okay, so how do I make this look similar? Give me an idea.
Don't you need a background for the day?
Fantastic, thank you. So I'll call this maybe style. Now you can put new line here. Okay, so I'll just make it easy to see. All right, like that, and then I'll do style. Let's do the background for the parent, yeah, the whole thing outside today. What color is it? All right, so you can use English name, and it looks like that. But technically, over time, you start to learn to use the code. This is a hex, like so. Normally you see 6 of them, but if they, if it's the same thing like CC, 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 then you can just make it shorter. I think it looks almost like that, right? Maybe a little lighter. So D, all the way F is white, all the way 0 is black. So maybe some people say best practice is like all 0, best practice is all F, that's all white, all black. I'm almost, to the white extreme. So that looks not too bad. And I only display the background red for today because I wanted to see how wide it is. Right now I don't care, so I keep it back like that. But maybe style here, I can make it bigger, right? Bold. So font, weight. Now these things you will do the exercises in the lab, so you don't have to worry like, wait, what? How do I make the text bold? Don't worry about that yet, okay? So we just know that there's some style. We forget this all the time, trust me. Even with a lot of years of experience, you ask, how do you make the text bold? Font style? Font style? Oh no, it's font weight. You're not supposed to remember everything. Hey, that looks good. What else do you guys want to tweak?
Maybe more individual boxes within the whole task.
Fantastic. So you see the white thing around them? Let's make each of these guy style, maybe background color white. So the first one get the white color. That's a bit of a problem, isn't it? If I do the same thing, then they start acting white all over the place. How do I fix this?
You need to do
Margin. So when you first learn this HTML stuff, like margin and padding, seems a bit confusing. Inside, let's look at this box, right? Outside is like, see, I'm mousing over and you see, let's say that's the whole div. Outside that, the space here and the space in between here, they could be margin, right? So I'll call them margin 5 pixel, for example. And with the screen, we do pixel. And it's a unit, right? You can just play with it until you like where it is. So under the style attributes, you can have more than one just by set of attributes here. The styling by doing semicolon. It's looking better, right? Almost there. So what else do we want to change?
For your today method, it cuts off at the bottom, but you need to finish it off with
Cut off at the bottom.
right.
We do want this add a card thing, right? That's good. So how do we have some extra space at the bottom? I'm not going to use add a card here yet. This is the concept of padding. When I say padding 5 pixel, it gives me 5 pixel around inside, right? So my children cannot get to that padding space. So margin is right outside the border, padding is right inside the border. And you notice that now I have padding 5 pixel, you see there's a little space before this today thing. So maybe I make it 10 pixel. Yeah, so it looks a little cleaner. Okay. Anything else? Horizontal. Where? Today? Oh, the doing. No, let's just do one list. One list. Width. Thank you. So let's add here width to be 250 pixel. I'm just guessing. That's about right. It's about right. So this is okay with 250 pixel. Maybe you make it 300. Anything else? I'm just buying time for you guys.
Rounded corners for that.
All right. So we'll get to rounded corners and shadow very soon. I think there's one pain here is that do you see how the L is getting into this white space?
Yeah.
It doesn't look nice. What is that?
So margin is going to be
Yeah, but when it's inside the border, you don't call that margin. What do you call it? Padding. 5 pixel. Let's look. Oh, it looks better. All right, I'll add the same thing. Okay. So imagine if now I can start doing more, but then now I have to start copying this. And you realize that if you have so many, okay, and then you suddenly realize that I want to change the padding to 15 pixel, and only this guy get changed. That's not good, right? We are programmers. Remember, in Ruby we have methods. In HTML we don't have HTML methods, but we have something that can style them together. Does anyone know how to do that? CSS. Yeah, CSS is a way to bring these guys out. This is like your CSS syntax, styling, but let's do CSS. And I'm like, what is CSS? Well, don't worry, you get to do some exercises very soon. I'll focus on one string here. I take all of these guys out. I take all of them out, and then I give this guy a name, but I call it a class. So remember in Ruby class, a class you have many objects. So it's like each of these is a class and you have many things with the same class. So this class, I'm going to call it maybe list item. Is okay? And the syntax for CSS you will have to learn is dot class name. And then inside there, the curly braces, you paste in their what do you call this? These are the attributes, properties, right? CSS properties. And each line is a new line now because we have so much space over here. There's so much space, and I just move this guy over here. Then my code looks so much cleaner. And you can do the same thing now. This list item learn numbers. I just use some shortcuts there, and then I do another thing, list item learn hash. As you can see, if you do this in VS Code, it'll take forever, but here I just type and I don't have to think. And of course, I'm changing my padding margin back to 5 pixels because it's so much better, right? It's getting better there. Now I'm extracting this guy. Remember class list box here? Let's get list box out, and let's get all the styles out. Initially, use style there is very nice, easy to see. You don't have to go to CSS, but here you just, as you become more familiar, take it out. Remember, a new line for every semicolon line. It's getting better, right? Padding. Padding, this is not good enough for me. I like the site to be, the top 10 pixels here is fine, but the left and the right is too much. Then you do padding left, 5 pixels, padding right, 5 pixels. So you're overriding this padding. It's padding for everything, top, left, right, bottom, and then here you just do left and right separately. It's getting better. And if we want to go super fancy, then now you're gonna learn some of this technique, like William Oscar to say. I'm going to. It's weird. I can't resize this. Come on. All right. I'm gonna make it slightly better. You don't have to learn these ones yet. So Oscar will say, "Hey, border, it's too sharp right here, right?" It's like all this. If you zoom in, I didn't set up zoom in. But border radius, it's all read like English. So you can Google like CSS border radius, how to do that. But say, I'll give it a soft radius. You see the difference? Yeah. Sorry, it's super tiny. And then you're like, maybe a little bit more. Do you see a little shadow there? Down vertical, box shadow. And this is the extra, the advanced one that you don't have to worry about. And I'm like, I don't like box shadow to the right. I want it to the bottom side. So, hey, that's good, but I don't like that color. So I like, maybe a slightly dark. That's still too dark. Hey, it's there. Like, obviously, this is very hard to see. Sorry, I don't have a zoom function just yet. Next time I'll set up zoom. But you start to see, okay, that looks like border. If you really want to test out, see how and you see the shadow? It's only going down there. One is enough. It's quite delicate. It's look nice. And then the list box. The list box, I will do border radius as well. Yeah? Okay, maybe like that guy has a smaller radius than mine. Maybe 3. Oh, okay, it's looking similar, right? And you can even do things like, I don't like this font. This font on the right-hand side look better. So I apply the whole thing to my body. The body is not even here. This is the name of the element. Right? So William, can you tell the difference between body, this whole word, and this list item? What's the difference in syntax?
Dash.
Where's the dash? Okay, there's a dash here. Anything else?
Dot.
There's a dot. So list item here is the same as div.listItem, but the idea is anything that has a class. The dot here is for class name. As class name list item, I will apply this rule. The body though, then anything that has the body tag. How many body elements are there in a document? How many? How many body element are there in a document? 1. Right? So for example here you could do like, I want my whole document to be like a sans serif font style. And then so all these characters hopefully, unfortunately I'm not sure if it applies. It's not font style, font family, see, like. Alright. Do you see the difference? Serif. Now we change that to sans serif. It look better. It look like these guys. You can set the font size, of course. In list item, you can say font size is 12 pixel. Oh, it's a bit too small. Or font size is 0.9 em. So initially, you could probably use pixel. Em is just like this ratio thing. 1 em just means the same 100% within the current context. Just temporarily understand like that. And I say in the list, well, make the font like 9% of what you normally have for me, right? And 1 em, you will see that it's about 16 pixels sometimes, but it's hard at this stage. I'm not going to explain too much. You can choose em or pixel, right? You can play with it. 0.9 pixels is too small, right? So, question? Good question. What's the minimum? To be honest, don't make it smaller than 12. But if you want people to read your stuff, probably 14 pixel. 13 is okay. It's a big paragraph. So that's the font size. So it gives us an idea. I need to very quickly, one last thing. Go back to this. You only learned class so far. Not true, you learned something else. Sinay, do you remember another attribute? Last time I wrote something here, start with S. T. Style. This is one attribute, this is another attribute, right? So if I want to make the text here red, how do I do that? Stan? Style equals color red. So that's one way. Let's do it the CSS way. If I want to make it less, you can just keep adding to the end of the file. If you say H1 color red.
So in CSS it doesn't matter replacement?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It just reads everything, so it will be red. Here's the problem. Louis, can you give me, let's say if I do this second heading, so this is goodbye, okay? End of page.
Should that be H2?
Let's say I do that. Just now, why is end of page red? Because they are using the same tag here. Okay? Now, Williams, if I want end of page to be blue, how do we do it?
Change the H1 to H2.
Okay, good. So you can change it to H2 and then you define a blue rule here. What if I keep it as H1? How do I make it red? I know, how do I make it blue? Oh, so we say you can just say color blue here. Do you guys think it will work?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you're only specifying that.
Because inline takes priority over.
Yeah, so great points there. Yeah, so there are two rules. Today, what are the two color rules for this end of page heading? Rule number one is, this is a rule, this is a rule, property, but what's the first rule? What's the first rule? Color is red for end of page. What's the second rule for end of page? Color is blue. The second one and the first one, which one is more important? Based on what you see on the screen. Second one means, yeah, when you do it right inline means right there. It will be just more important. It takes the priority or precedence. Okay? Sometimes though, we don't like to affect everything with this H1 color red. So how do we do we say only the H1 text here should have red?
Would it have to do something with the texting? Like the actual
This
text
one?
itself.
So you want to narrow it down to only this element. Remember, you can also you can use class head. So here's an example heading. If I do class head here, only this guy will be red. So if I turn off the color, oops, turn this off, the bottom is now black again. Okay? So generally you use class, but there's one more thing to learn before you go. It's called ID. If you use ID on an element, that ID should be unique in that document. You're responsible to make it unique, okay? If you don't, something funny may happen, like when you try to find that element. So if I say I only have one thing called test head, okay? I have one thing. You can also tell it to go there. You see now this doesn't work. This has to be a class, but if you change it to head, it has to be this pound sign. So that's it. That's all the syntax you need to know. And now it's red again because CSS rule, there's no dot or pound before the word. It means it's an element name, right? Earlier we were discussing that. So H1 is an element name. Great. Second, if it's a pound and a word, then that means an ID. Or a hash, right? Hashtag. Or if this is a dot and a word, then that is a class. Okay? Yes?
You have H1 ID and
Yeah.
that means you can have H2 ID.
Yes, good question. The answer is no, please do not have them as same ID. So, some people don't like to put H1 and it works the same way.
Just because you label the first H1N line.
Yeah, so if you do hash head, it just finds any element with the ID head. If you do H1 head, it will go to find the element with ID head, but it's also an H1 element. But please don't use ID, head and head somewhere else. Even though you can do that, but just don't. It's like, you can name your files the same name everywhere in different folders. It's fine, but please don't, because when you find them, it's not easy. Okay? And then down up here, the reason there's no word before this dot list is that if I put the word there, William, what is the word there? It is something like this, right? That would be a tag name. Okay? But we don't have word. It's the same as div, so don't use word. So technically, you can say this is always a div, so you can say it's a div. But if you say, well, it's obvious, it's a div, I don't care, I just do dot. And then you can have maybe end a page to have the same class and they can all get the same styling. This item, if you really, of course, don't do this here, but maybe this item end of page, you see, it still has the bottom, border, shadow, stuff. So dot something applies to everything that has that class name. So now when you do the lab, you get an idea. And you can start playing with this. So your exercise is there. Everything I've just explained, syntax-wise, please start typing all of this yourself. Don't skip them. Don't copy and paste this code to your code and then, oh, it looks okay, and I'll just skip. Right? Understand these elements. And I explained some stuff here in Joy CodePen. For CSS, complete these exercises. Very short and sweet. And there are a lot more, but I don't need you to do those. Just do the key ones. And for those of you who can do a little bit more, you feel free to set the background color, CMS Trello, set the button, He even set the style of the text to be strike through. Sounds good? And if you have trouble implementing it, this lecture video also have the step. You can pause and try to follow. Thanks, guys.